What if we were going to get a flashback scene of a young Palpatine trying to kill Plagueis, and then Plagueis transferred his essence into that young Palpatine, and that was going to be Matt Smith, and that would have thrown the biggest wrench into the history of Star Wars. I think that's what it could have been. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. We got some really interesting news. So back when episode 9 was about to come out, there were rumors all over Reddit. I made some videos about it. Josh and I made some videos about it as well on Nerd Theory, and it was basically regarding Matt Smith, this talented actor named Matt Smith, which is the gentleman you see before you, and we're going to play the video of the interview in just a moment. The rumor was that he was supposed to come back as a young Palpatine, and I made a riff on this on one of my animations, which I'll play for you right now.
Yes, I feel incredible. Such a pity how much grander and more powerful you could have still become. Oh well, whatever.
Oh, you. Oh my god. Oh my god. You're the Emperor.
Anyways, that's what we came up with because of the rumors regarding episode 9 and Matt Smith, entering the chat, essentially. And I really thought it would have been cool. Here's what he has to say about it in this interview, and you can find the full video at John Horowitz's Patreon, I believe, which is all here in this tweet. I'm also going to retweet it for you guys right there. So let's go ahead and watch the interview, and then we can talk about it. I actually haven't seen it. I just read briefly about it. So here we go.
You were going to be in the Rise of Skywalker. Matt, did you ever shoot any
Yes.
Star Wars scenes?
No, I didn't. There was, we were close to me being in it, but then it just never quite happened. I think the thing they were thinking of me for, eventually the part became, it became obsolete and they didn't need it. And so I never got to be in Star Wars. There we are.
Wait, what? Here's conjecture. Was this Palpatine's son? Was that who you were playing?
I could not possibly say. But it was a pretty groovy thing. It was a really groovy part and concept. It was pretty big. It was a big thing. It was like a big story detail, like a transformative Star Wars story detail. But it never quite got over the line.
No, I can't deal with this. I'm gonna have nightmares about this now.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was a big shift in the history of the franchise.
Wait, what?
I need you to stop talking. You're getting
A big shift in the history of the franchise. So that couldn't then have been Palpatine absorbing the diet of Rey and Kylo and then becoming becoming Matt Smith. What the hell could they have done that would make a big shift in Star Wars, in the history?
me angrier every successive word.
yeah, I know. It's yeah, there we are.
Did you ever get into costume? Was there a costume test? How far away
No,
did you get?
there was no costume. There were a couple of meetings to talk about it. And
okay. The good part is you still have your Star Wars eligibility card, so and it's a long career.
Well, maybe I can come back. You never know. I mean, if God, to come back as that
To come back as that guy? Dude, the only thing that the rumors were talking about was that he was going to be a young Palpatine. So either it was his son, and they completely flipped the script on that Rey's dad is actually a clone of Palpatine, but he wasn't like this clone that was defective and couldn't use the Force. He was a clone that was really powerful. Or it was a flashback scene that showed something to do with Palpatine, maybe on Jakku, maybe building that laboratory that he had that was in Chuck Wendig's book, Aftermath. Or perhaps it was the fact that Palpatine actually is still out there. Or they could have even turned him in. Maybe he didn't look the way he does as a normal human. Maybe, Plagueis. Perhaps the idea was that Plagueis was always in Palpatine. You know, what if Palpatine was never Palpatine? What if Palpatine was actually Plagueis, and when Palpatine tried to kill Plagueis, he transferred his essence, I suppose, into Palpatine's body, if they want to do the whole essence transfer thing, which, mind you, Plagueis thought was BS, not true Sith or immortality. That would throw a big wrench in Star Wars. I mean, that could be like then all of Star Wars, it would never have been Palpatine. It would have been Plagueis in Palpatine's body, which would have been just crazy. And like Palpatine's still out there now. It'd be like a Mad Eye Moody thing from Harry Potter. I don't know. This is kind of wild. I don't know what his role would have been, but I think he would have done a really fantastic job. And I mean, I can't say exactly if I would have wanted to see it or not, but yeah, I would have wanted to see it because I think anything that would have thrown like a big wrench. Well, I don't know. It could go both ways. I don't really know. What do you guys think? You know, let me know. Like, do you think he would have played a good character? Do you think he would have been perhaps a young Palpatine? Maybe, you know, because what I thought was always that, you know, Palpatine was going to absorb their essence or something, and then he was going to turn into a young, or he had many clones of himself, and this one was the one that actually worked. And he was going to transfer his essence into this young body of himself, and perhaps he would be like unbelievably powerful. Or perhaps in the end, there are back to tanks, and Palpatine's essence was transferred into this one, and all of a sudden at the end, after the whole like I am Rise Skywalker thing, you just see like this room of like Bactas, and like it's all like partially destroyed, but there's one, and it's still somewhat okay and untouched, and all you see is a close-up on this dude like floating or whatever, and then he just opens his eyes. That would have been kind of cool. That would have been pretty sweet. Would have been better than the ending, I think, that we got. But hey, that's just me.
This is the worst.
Yeah.
This is the worst possible time for the phone to cut out. Just so you know, the worst possible time.
Oh God, I hope. Sorry, it's because I'm in Spain and the internet's really shoddy in our hotel in the middle of Caracas. Sorry, my friend.
Okay, so if you want to watch the full interview, you can find it here on Happy Sad Confused at patreon.com. I don't know exactly what that is, but that's just follow this guy's tweet.
You were going to be in the Rise of Skywalker. Matt, did you ever shoot any Star Wars scenes?
No.
I didn't. You know what's really weird is that they had so many different ideas floating around, and it almost seemed like it was kind of like last minute instead of having like this like a concrete plan, like from the beginning, you know, this is what we're going to do. And they were just trying to like make it up as they went. But I think this would have been pretty cool. I mean, from at least the little details that I know about it and the leaks that we got on Reddit, I feel like a young Palpatine, full power, would have been really nice to see. I mean, him just, it was like, could you imagine the scene we got in the Clone Wars with Palpatine with the two sabers versus Maul and Savage, but this time a young Palpatine versus Rey and Ben. And then you hear other stuff too, like that whole thing with Kevin Smith or whatever, how he's talking like there's like some scene that's gonna like melt your mind or blow your mind or whatever. Like, what was that scene? You know, like what are the things that they cut out? What were the things they were planning that they never put in there? And it makes you wonder, you know, were we actually going to see all of the Force ghosts? Did they actually have, you know, Hayden Christensen? Did they actually have Ahsoka Tano? Did they actually have, who isn't confirmed to be dead or alive at that point, merely just through her voice, perhaps, in the Force? Were we going to see Qui-Gon Jinn? You know, like all these dudes, like were we going to see them in the flesh? Is that what that was? You know, what Kevin Smith was talking about regarding that? But there's so many questions that I guess at like the most random times we could eventually get an answer. Just like this, I never thought this would happen. I thought like, oh, okay, well maybe the rumors were incorrect, you know, about Matt Smith. But lo and behold, you know, a lot of these rumors that come out, we find out like a few years, this is almost 2 years later, we find out that like, okay, well, I guess there was some validity to it. And obviously he's under some hardcore contracts where he can't say anything. He can't even tell us like, was this Palpatine's son? Was this Palpatine himself? I don't think it was Palpatine's son. I think it was going to be actually Palpatine returning, or maybe in a young clone body of himself or something. because he was doing a ton of gene splicing with Snoke and creating some sort of a abomination monster that he could throw his body into. And in the Secrets of the Sith book, actually Snoke, that's why they made so many of him, because he was expendable. You know, that whole Plo Koon scene with the clones. It's like, you are expendable. That's mainly your point. But his issue was that he couldn't transfer his essence into Snoke, and it wouldn't contain Palpatine's power. So I think that's why Snoke had the ring from beneath the catacombs of Vader's castle, inscribed with the Duarty on there. And the Duarty, of course, were the statues from Palpatine's office, which were given to him by Plagueis, or rather, he kind of took them once he killed Plagueis. But what if he never actually killed Plagueis? What if we were going to get a flashback scene of a young Palpatine trying to kill Plagueis, and then Plagueis transferred his essence into that young Palpatine, and that was going to be Matt Smith, and that would have thrown the biggest wrench into the history of Star Wars. I think that's what it could have been. But I think fans would have been so pissed at that, dude. Like, it would have been so damn cool. It would have been so freaking cool, but it would have just literally changed everything. The next time you see Palpatine, it's not really Palpatine, it's actually Plagueis, which it is, again, coolest thing ever, but also you're changing literally like 6 films and the history of Star Wars at that point. That's a lot of heat. I don't know if that's something you really want to do, but it's a cool concept. Either way, let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed this news and my thoughts on it. Make sure to check me out on Spotify. Star Wars Theory 2.0 is on there, exclusive content. And hit like on this video if you enjoyed it. I love you all. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.